And good evening and welcome to Analytical Concept / Minding My Black Owned Business / Mike on the Mic. As you can see, there is a mic in the picture here. So we're going to do the podcast as well. So hang tight, bear with me, because we got a couple of things to talk about tonight that should interest you. Interested me too. So bear with me, get to see me set up here. I'm running a little late, but that's of my own doing, not anybody else's. I'm gonna pull up Google a couple of things tonight. So bear with me, good folks. Bear with me. Set this up. The hell. What up, Miss Brooks? How you doing? Got a few things to discuss tonight. Nope, that's not what I wanted. This phone's really gonna start to tick me off in a minute. But so we got so one of the things I'm going to discuss tonight is this situation, the Crown Law in Texas. So the Crown Law in Texas, and I got to actually get the podcast going. So here we go. Good evening, everybody, and we're live on Instagram at Analytical Concepts. If you have an interest in joining, anytime in the near future. So if you haven't heard of Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free app or go to Anchor.fm to get started. Got a little tongue tied there, trying to multitask as we go. So the Crown Law. So it's a new law in Texas. It prohibits race-based hair discrimination, and pretty much from what I'm reading here, it's crazy because this law is now being challenged by the Texas by a mother and son in Texas. Now the son is basically being told he can't come to school unless he does something about his hair. Now here's the thing. This law was signed in place, if I'm correct. Let me take a look at this, because here we go. I got the story right here on Google. So, and the source of this story comes from the Texas Tribune. So Governor Greg Abbott signed into a law prohibiting race-based hair discrimination in Texas workplaces, schools, and housing policies. Now, the House bill is 567, introduced by Democratic Republic Rheta Bowers. Of Rowlett sailed through both chambers of legislature, and with overwhelming support after the same bill stalled during the legislative session in 2021. The policy, which Abbott signed Saturday, will go into effect September 1st. So that's September 1st of 2023. Now, 20 states have passed the Crown Act, an acronym for creating a respectful and open world of natural hair, according to the Crown Coalition, an organization that champions the legislation. Harris County, the state most populous in the city of Austin, have adopted versions of this legislation. So basically, there's a young man who is being told he can't go to school because his hair. So according to this law, no schools can discriminate against this. And they told him that, if he doesn't do it, if he doesn't change his hairstyle, basically go find another school to go to, find a whole other district, better yet, find another state. And I find that to be really, really, really crazy to think that you will tell this young man he can't go to school because of his hair. But did you say anything to anybody else in the school who may have different colored hair? Has anybody? So I'm curious to know, has anybody done that? Because I know there's a young man in there with purple hair dyed orange, green, aqua, turquoise. It'd be acceptable. But because this young man happens to be, well, a brown-skinned male, the rules now, the goalpost, as they like to say, has been moved further back. So he can't sit there and go to school like normal people. Because why? His hair. It really bugs me because they're willing to just cut their nose off despite their faces. And I hope that this young man and his mom win their court case and tell Texas to shove it. This state has been known for a lot of wild shit, and we're still sitting here kind of curious, wondering why. But as I'm scrolling through my phone here, my other phone, I'm going to keep looking up some things. There's something that kind of also something I posted in one of my stories yesterday. And it was about, it was a white woman, talking about how white women don't like the way black folks or any quote minority fights their oppressor. And she said, this is the slave master's wives mentality. It's crazy that we're talking about this, but it is what it is. It has to be said. So as long as we're quiet about it, going along about it all, peaceful and calm and shit, it's cool. As long as we comply and sit there and, yes, master, we'll buckle down to your standards. What's up, Thomas? And we continue to sit there and just keep going with the bullshit. What I don't understand is, how can anyone tell us to protest silently? Because let's take it, when women's lib was in, did they protest silently? No, they didn't. Right? So anytime we're oppressed, which we have been oppressed for a very long time, the moment everything's cool until someone doesn't like the way we protest. Now, some folks may agree with this, some may not. The ones who don't agree, it's your prerogative. But let me say this. There's no way that you can tell me that I got to sit back and be quiet because you're not comfortable with the way I'm fighting for my freedom. As the saying goes, it's hard to be persistent when you're fighting for your existence. It's really hard to fight for your existence when you have What's up, T. Francis? Good morning. Thomas, tonight I am, as you can see, I'm live. I'm doing the podcast simultaneously, man. When anyone else is oppressed, we just go along with it, right? We're just okay, yep, oh yeah, hey, they're fighting for their freedom. When we are oppressed and we say, nah, we ain't taking this junk no more. It's like, oh boy, the Negroes are getting loud. And here's the funny thing is, white men don't say much about how we protest. They really don't. They really don't. They usually, like, the thing is, they don't say much, they actually act. But they act on behalf of their wives. Because their wives will sit there looking through their windows, aka their plantation home, and say, I'm not comfortable with the way they're protesting. I can't go to the store and buy sugar. Hey, Miss Brooks, talk about it. I mean, I ain't saying it's you because you stand up for what's right. You stand up for what's right. You always have, always will. You speak your mind. So we have this thing here in America where, and I'm going to say it because I thought about it yesterday. When the feminist movement started, it was loud. It was loud. And everybody stood out the way, you know? You're right, T. You are absolutely right. And I'm going to read the comment. I'm going to read your comment so people on the podcast know what we're talking about. Thomas said his first comment is, you got to realize, like back in the day, the old protests with Malcolm and Martin and Marcus Garvey and all those people, when they have been black folks marching, it meant some of it was dangerous. The new age protester, man, it ain't nothing but a dog and pony show. That's all it is, and that's who we invite everybody for. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's the truth. It is a dog and pony show. But a lot of that is the reason why it turned into a dog and pony show, bro, is we saw what happened in Missouri, right? Missouri, we saw what happened after Mike Brown. We saw what happened after Mike Brown. The actual real deal BLM members went full throttle. And then next thing you know, they wound up dead. So now that's why we truthfully have a real dog and pony show. And that's what makes it so dangerous. That's why they find us to be dangerous, is the fact that when there's organization, you have men with knowledge, men with power, men with some form of organizational skills, and can do it in a way that no one's getting hurt, but feelings are being hurt, because you're speaking the inconvenient truth. And that inconvenient truth happens to always hit. It hits them right in the heart, man. It hits them right in the heart where they least expect it. When they least expect it. What's up, True? But it just kind of like, we have to do better. We have to be better. We have to be better in every aspect because, excuse me, evening, True. Because the fact of the matter is, no matter what we do, no matter what we say, how it plays out, people get pissed off. And people don't like it. And here's one for you. I got something for you here. So as I told you, I was going to talk about a few different things, and right now I'm speeding through them because I got an hour. So I posted on my Analytical Concepts page, same page I'm going live from, and it simply asked, is blacks only the same as whites only? So in a lawsuit filed against the Fairless Fund, The lawyers who are suing says a nonprofit giving grants only to black women is the same as having a white only sign outside your organization. So how do y'all feel about that? Talk to me. Talk to me through the comments or come on live. And let's not make this about everybody else. Let's stick to the topic at hand right here. And I'm going to read it again. Is blacks only the same as whites only? And hold on, let me read it. In a lawsuit filed against the Fairless Fund, the lawyers who are suing says a nonprofit giving grants only to black women is the same as whites only sign outside your organization. Now, I have no problem with this. I have no problem with it. Because the truth of the matter is, whenever we have something that is for women, black women, and if the brothers don't have a problem with this, why should anybody else have a problem with it? Because the bottom line to me is, and hold on, folks, you know I got to do it because we're about to hit the 15-minute mark. If you haven't heard of Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free app or go to anchor.fm to get started. What about Asian women? If it's a fund that's created for black women to go out and do some things, it's called the Fairless Fund. Here's how I look at it, right? Take it for face value, take it for how you will. Everybody gets pissed off at these topics. And I'll be the first to tell you, if it said Asians only, would Big Mike get pissed off? Not one iota. If it says whites only, am I going to get pissed off? No, not one iota. You know why? Because everybody has the right to start their own fund. Let's take it back to a time when, let's see, it says in a lawsuit filed against the Fairless Fund, the lawyers who are suing, it's a nonprofit organization that gives out grants. So anybody can... Hey, man, got to read it. Hey, I'm just reading it the way it is, man. It starts to come out like that. I wouldn't say it's a color fund. I think that's the problem. You see color. I see women who are saying, hey, let's go out there and get our sisters out there because you know why? We're behind the 8 ball in a lot of areas out here. So if we're going to uplift, okay, let's start with our own. Then we can start going out and talking to everybody else. I'm not upset. Everybody has everyone has a right to their opinion about this, and I'm cool with it because that's what we're here for. We're here to have healthy discussions. But if we're really gonna get upset about it, why are we getting upset about it? What boggles my mind is that they're suing. So let's take it back to when black folks, not even Asian folks, could get in to Ivy League schools. Right? So we say, hey, fuck it. We're going to go to the HBCUs. It has nothing to do with hate towards another race. I want to read the comments here. So Ms. Brooks says it's a nonprofit fund created for black women to empower and lift up black women. It has nothing to do with hate towards another race. It's just created to help specifically black women, created by other women. True. She says, I hear more saying color first before gender. Ms. Brooks finishes off with black women. So here's the problem. It's a organization created by... Yeah, all right. So I gotta get to the nitty gritty of this because here's the thing. I'm pro-black, but I'm not anti-white. I'm not anti-Asian. I'm not anti-anything. I'm about my people first, right? Right? Anyone that knows me knows. I ain't gotta explain this shit because we said this from the inception of analytical concepts. in Mr. Trillionaire Mindset and all that, all of us going live. Now, let me ask you a question, True. If a bunch of white folks got mad and just said, "Hey," and let's change it. In a lawsuit filed against the Fairless Fund, the lawyers who are suing says a nonprofit giving grants only to Asian women is the same as having a whites only sign outside your organization. Would there be would we even be having this conversation? That to me is the problem. Is that here's the thing, right? It's everyone wants everything to be about all women. We have that every day of the week. Black men, black women. We face more scrutiny and more shit. It's for black. Miss Brooks says it's for black women. No one is saying all women don't matter. They are just saying our women, black women, matter. Bingo. There you have it. It's the same. Go back to when the Black Lives Matter movement was up and jumping. Everyone's like, well, what about white lives matter? Blue lives matter. So we're going to dismiss it. We're going to dismiss black men and women's lives mattering. So right here, we're not going to dismiss these black women saying, hey, look, we're for everybody. But damn, can we get out here too? Can we eat? Can we build? Can we uplift? I have nothing against anybody else. But I have a problem when we always see color first. And this is how it's worded from how I'm reading it. Everybody, we shouldn't get upset about it. We should not be upset about it. We should simply be like, we should be embracing this. But but naturally we don't. We never really embrace these type of things because we get fixated on the color aspect of it.
I'm getting up anyway.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not upset. I just think I know people get upset when they see black women in a role that they can uplift themselves. Because I don't have anything against the Asian community. I went to school. All the years I've been going to school, I've gone to school with Cambodians, Hmong, Laotians. And I've never once said, hey, I don't like you guys. Or if they had their things going, I never sat up there and shit on them. Because I'm like, nah, that's not how we do. That's not how we do. We don't have to, what I'm saying? I ain't got to shit on you and you ain't got to shit on me to uplift your shit. I'm all about everybody being empowered and everybody having a good time. What's up, Robin? Here's the thing. If I'm going to lose friends over how I feel about things, so be it. I'm not here to debate. I just read something that came across my timeline. I was like, hey, this would be an interesting topic. What's going on, brother man? We always cry about, Miss Brooks says, it's not the same as whites only sign because those were based off of a hate for black people, not created from a group trying to empower their own. Well said, Miss Brooks. Well said. Well said. And I think that's the thing that's pissing people off is the fact of the matter is that we're going to always talk about race. I'm reading the article. I'm reading the post. Everybody wants to see, well, what about us? What about you? What the fuck about you? Because let's put it into perspective here, right? White people have theirs. Asians have theirs. The entire Asian community eats off of the black community. If I'm lying, someone in here correct me, please. Because we're the biggest group of people that are constantly exploited. Our culture is always appropriated. Let's talk about this Travis. I'm going to switch gears for a hot second and we're going to jump back to this. But let's talk about this bullshit with the they're calling the fade to Travis Kelce. You got to be out. You got to be fucking shitting me. You got to be out your ever-loving, cotton-picking motherfucking mind to sit up there and say it's the Travis Kelce. So now we're just going to gentrify a fucking haircut. For the love of freaking goodness. Can we stop the bullshit? Can we stop the fucking bullshit? A fade. People been getting fades before this boy was even alive. Right? Right? Now we want to call it the Kelce. What up? What up, BA nerd? What's going on? I mean, I've always been baffled by the fact that, yo, for real, man, like, we're going to sit here and really, in the New York Times on Black History Month. Listen, I gotta stop myself. I gotta give myself a TO. We don't have a month. We're all year round. Because we rain all year round from June to June. Niggas bite immediately, but yet if not soon. You know what I'm saying? Set the lynching. Get the execution date. Yeah, I know. I'm going crazy with it. But real talk here. Every time we get something for ourselves, somebody wants to fucking gentrify that shit to make it appropriate for them so they can be included when you have every freaking thing. Oh shit. I'm in trouble. Rocco's coming up the stairs. Hi, Bubba. Come here. Come here. Guys, hold on. Bear with me. Look who it is. Rocco D. Rocco D is on the live and he's also on the podcast. Say something. No? No. So anyway, Rocco has a few thoughts about this. Rocco said calling the fade to Travis Kelce is bullshit. He said it's bullshit. He said, what's next? You gonna call dog treats the Tom Brady's? There you go, Bubba. It's otherworldly to me that we're fighting. And here's the thing. Because I'm gonna jump back to this whole thing about the black women thing. People have no fucking clue how, and we say it all the time, man. The black woman is not protected. So when black women get together and create things for themselves, brothers, if they're not, here's the thing, if they're not talking shit about nobody, they're talking about, hey, look, let's go out here and build and uplift this thing. Let's uplift ourselves because we are, we call ourselves kings and queens out here. So let's start showing these folks that, we can build ourselves up. We can wear those crowns. Just like that young brother in Texas who should be able to wear his hair any way he chooses without anybody coming down on him without persecution. We are so hell bent on making sure, and I'm not saying the rest of the world is hell bent on making sure anyone that doesn't look like them, white, we're a fetish to most. But yet, when we stand up for ourselves, oh no, you Negroes and you Asians and you Latinos and Africans who are here in this country, you sit your asses down. In fact, if you're from Africa, they tell you go back to Africa. They tell us to go back to Africa. I can't go back to a land that I've never been to. I was born here on American soil, as they call us America. I was born into a corporation. That's why we have Social Security numbers. They don't want to see us rise. They don't want to see us have these healthy conversations either. Because you know why? If they continue to see us saying, hey, I can put aside my differences because you know what? Your enemy is my enemy. Your goal is the same as mine. Am I about uplifting people? Hell yeah. Am I about giving people a platform to speak on? Hell yeah. Miss Brooks says, That's what those people are afraid of. They don't want anyone to better themselves or uplift their own culture because they want to control everything. Miss Brooks, you were on the money. We've talked about this so many different times, but you know what? 2024, the governor's off my mouth. I was nice about it last year, trying to, because people are telling Sean, I think his delivery, he's so mean. Well, you know what? If you can listen to Corey Holcomb say, bitch, and all that other shit, then you can listen to me go on my shit. Bottom line is, to sue a nonprofit organization because they are up there saying, hey, here, we're giving you some grant money to go start your own business or to do something within this community to uplift others. Let this shit get up off the ground. Because I know the Asian women that come over, the Hispanic women that are going to come over, and they're going to say, hey, I'm Afro-Latino. Yeah. So if you're admitting that, because list Afro-American, Afro-Latino, Latina, meaning you are stating you're black. So you're going to be included too in the grand scheme of things. How many groups, in fact, hey, you think a black man can just say, hey, I want to sign up to be in the Ku Klux Klan? Isn't that a white-only organization? Can a black man go to the neo-Nazis and say, hey, I want to join the neo-Nazi party? They're like, what the hell? Oh, we got ourselves a live one here. Right? Right. We're the only folks that we accept everybody into our shit. And the reason why that happens is because we're never taken seriously. We can show up to an organization. If we did the Million Man March again, and the criteria was for black men to come in suits, but we're going to march, but we're going to ride in buses to get to DC. But prior to that, we're going to stop somewhere so you guys can change and get out of your street clothes and put on that suit and that tie. Tell me they want to sue this organization for saying we want to uplift people. That's all we want to do is uplift. That's all we're doing is uplifting people. Nothing more, nothing less. And there's a big problem with that. And we're up against the time. I went over the time. So, hey, if you haven't heard of Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Yes, Ms. Brooks, that is ridiculous. It is very much ridiculous. Like, the thing about it is that when you have a healthy conversation with somebody and they say, hey, you know what? I am open-minded. I see where you're coming from. You're right. There's nothing wrong with empowering your own culture, your own people. Because let's face it, the culture that I'm talking about is for my people. It's used. It's on full display every day. Let's talk about something real quick. I remember this is going back a couple of years ago. I had posted something on my page about people calling the braids that Bo Derek wore in the movie 10. People were referring to them as Bo Derek braids. Right? Remember that? Bo Derek braids. Everybody, I want to give me some Bo Derek braids. Blah 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 blah. And let me get the right. Oh man, Derek. Bo Derek braids. So, what are they actually called? What are Bo Derek braids called? I had to Google this one. They're known as Fulani braids. Right? So we're talking culture here. We're talking cultural things. This is like this, and see this shit here. This I'm jumping around for a second, so stay with me, right? So they want to refer to the fade as the Travis Kelce, but let's talk about the Fulani braids, which is the Fulani the Fulani women of East and West Africa. In 1979, in film 10, which featured an iconic scene of the star running down the beach. So remember this. Remember, everything that starts out with people of color always somehow finds its way to other cultures. And now people got mad at me because one person in particular got mad at me and tried to roast me on my page. And I had to tell her, look, you kind of sounding real fucking stupid right now. You're goofy. This is coming from a person who tried to tell myself, Sean, JJ, and a couple of others that, you guys are beta males. In my culture, the men are this, the men are that. And somebody had to say, no, I'm from your culture. And the men that we have in our culture, the ones who were raised right, are respectful. The current men that you're talking about are basically they're abusers. So when I first saw these things I'm talking about, I was like, wow, this is a talking point. Because New York Times, you should be ashamed of yourselves for even going with that fucking dumbass story about the Travis Kelce. How many people are actually walking into the barber shop and saying, I want his haircut? Because I bet you Travis Kelce at a certain point in time in college, like, I don't want the Supercuts haircut. Guys, where do you go to get your haircut? Before he started talking with the, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about, the vernacular, the attitude, the swag. Right? Because where do you get his style from? I bet you some college teammates. Cultural appropriation, right? Isn't that what we call it? This is why we say culture vultures. Culture vultures. We scream it loud and proud all day. What up, Bell? How you doing? But I'm gonna say this. I said it yesterday. I was at the smoothie shop talking with my man Eddie. Well, I said my brother Eddie, and the good brother Jose. We were talking about how the government doesn't want to see us come together. They don't want to see us have cohesion. They don't want to see us within our own community, our own neighborhoods, because we don't have communities. Because there's no unity. There's no unity. So they don't want to see us on any level get down with one another and build. So they create all these different terms. So if there was a boat trip, well, wasn't he dating black women before he started dating Taylor Swift? I'm just going to leave that. Golden Dragon, what's up? I think he was. I think he was, but I'm not too sure, bro.
Yes.
Oh, he was? Okay, so he was dating sisters. So they dressed him up. He had in other words, he was squarish, L7, right? So they spruced him up. Bingo, brother Robin. As Robin said, it's the oldest saying, divide and conquer. And we see it every day. We see it every day, man. It's frustrating because at the end of the day, man. Hold on one second.
I think you do set it on the.
All right. So when we start having these things going on, which have been going on for a long time within our community, within our neighborhoods, is divide and conquer. Dominicans don't fuck with blacks. Puerto Ricans don't fuck with blacks. Asians don't fuck with blacks. Whites don't fuck with blacks. We don't fuck with each other, right? We don't talk to each other. We don't, because of all these differences. All these differences that one group of people said, no, we got to keep them separated. What up? What up? Just respect one. What's going on, big bro? What's going on? How you feeling, brother? And at the end of the day, right, what's funny is I remember after graduating from high school, there was a sneaker store in downtown Providence called Geller's. And I walked in there, I seen a couple of cats that I went to high school with, happened to be Hispanic. And I walked in there and it was like, oh shit, what's up, B? What's happening? And the funny thing is we never really spoke to, the dude's name was Onassis. I remember that. No worries. You know, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. And I was in there looking, and this is around the time that the Concords came out.
Okay.
And I remember going in there because I remember at the time I had it like that. I went in there. Not saying I have it like that still, but back then I was young and didn't really have the responsibilities I have now. But I walked in there. I was like, yeah, we were talking and shit. And he goes, yo, what happened in high school? I'm like, what are you talking about? He was like, yo, like, he said, I've seen you out at a couple of parties, right? Like over the last couple of months, man, we seen each other dapped up like we were long lost friends. He said, why didn't we talk like that in high school? I said, well, let's stop and break it down, my friend. I said, well, for starters, I said, and let me quote you. He's a nigga. Remember that? And he was like, oh, man, we were younger back then. I said, we weren't that much younger. I said, we're only like a year plus removed from high school. I said, so it wasn't that long ago. I said, that kind of stuck with me because there was a young lady that used to hang around with you. I said, we were friendly, just say, how you doing? You told her, don't fucking talk to me.
Hey.
And I said, that kind of told me everything I needed to know. I said, but as we all say, time heals all wounds. I said, but also, I said, I'm big enough to say, hey, what's up? And let that shit keep moving. And he was like, yeah, bro, that was stupid of me. He said, I remember saying that because he said, at the time, I didn't know you. And I seen you around. He said, I thought because you play football, you thought you was one of those dudes that you could just be like, yeah, whatever. I said, no, we ain't on that time, man. I said, you think about it. I said, you and I get pulled over in the car. They're going to call us either two spics or two niggas. I said, but either way, we're going to have to get dealt with on some level by them, right? He's like, nah, real talk, B. He said, that's some real shit. He said, nah, you're right. And from there, man, I went and got my sneakers and shit. He's like, let me go in the back and get them and shit. Went in the back, got me 3 pairs. And we were sitting there still talking about just how fucked up the world is. Because he said, but you said some shit that that stuck with me. And I was like, what's that? He said, if I drop some water on your hair, I bet your shit naps up. He said, you have a reality check that you ain't all that your Latin blood ain't all what it's cracked up to be. And he said, yeah. I was like, yeah. I said, I remember saying that to you. He said that shit cut like a knife. I said, same as you calling me a nigga cut like a knife. I said, but at the end of the day, my brother, I said, we're sitting right here right now talking. I said, we go to the same parties. We know some of the same people. I said, so why bullshit? I said, I'd rather get down and make some money with you instead of sitting there arguing and rehashing old shit. I said, but I guess that's part of the process we have to take to get through the bullshit and the inertia in life. Here we sit now. I haven't seen that dude since 1997 or 98. Last time I actually purchased something out of that store, which is no longer in existence thanks to COVID and then all the looting and shit that took place while we were going through those chaotic times. What I personally think about all this shit is that white folks are more concerned with a young man's hairstyle instead of looking at the fact this guy's an upstanding student. He's not bothering anybody. His hair is in, and that's the thing. It's in his style. The style of this way his hair styled is like a crown, and it's dope. Because I ain't gonna lie, if I had hair and I could grow it out and get it and have it lock up, I'd do that shit. I really would. Second thing, We are not calling the fade the Kelsey. We are not calling the fade the Kelsey. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Black History Month is a joke to me because, yo, if you get in your car and you use navigation, I want you to understand a black woman, a melanated woman, invented the navigation that we use on our cell phones and in our cars. Think about that. I want you to really think long and hard about that one. Black History is not 1 month in February. Black History Month is every month. That's 12 months, 52 weeks a year, 365 days, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And a lot of y'all still don't, some of y'all out here don't even know your own history. A lot of y'all sitting up there boo-hooing over the Queen of England dying. But they like to hide those pictures of her bowing, her and the king bowing down to a king and queen from Africa. Who does the Pope secretly pray to? The Black Madonna. Doesn't it just get juicier? Here's what I need everybody to do. IG has brought a lot of us together. IG has made us laugh together. We've shared memes. We've rapped about just everyday shit. Just like, yo, what's good with you, man? How you feeling, bro? How you feeling, sis? Right? So how about we start educating one another on little things? How about we start bringing to light that it's okay to see the same people that you're going to sit there, ooh, sister girl. Because let's be honest, and that's not all white women. There's some, because there's some who are like, nah, I'm not going to sit there and do all that because it's going to make me look stupid and sound stupid. But to those of you who do all that bullshit, cut that shit out, because what you're doing is really just it's a stereotype. It's real stereotypical to sit there and think that all black women talk that way. It's stereotypical of me to sit there and talk a certain way about how I imitate white folks. Because not all of them are like that. Most of them are really cool. I can tell you that. I can say that to you. Because it's true. And most folks, most folks are like, hey, listen. Yeah, you may be a different shade than I am, but at the end of the day, my man, we're fighting the same battle. It may not seem it, but we are. And then there's some who really are straight up real about it. Like, look, I know I'm white, so I know I got a privilege that you don't have. And I understand your anger. I understand your angst, not towards me, but towards those folks who want to make you feel like you're less than. So instead of sitting here arguing about shit, because I think if he's still in the room, I'm going to quote my brother T. Francis. I'm going to quote you, Mr. Francis. How about we stop talking about the problem? How about we find a solution? So I have a solution. It's called, let's stop labeling ourselves as a nationality. My good folks out there, you're not, if you're Dominican, you're Dominican, you're Puerto Rican, you're not Spanish. You're not a language. To my African brothers out there, to those of you who are really, who've kept it real with me throughout the years, I appreciate you because I learned a lesson in 2018, going into 2019. I used to work overnight at the mental health facility doing security. One of the mental health workers, we were talking and she goes, I may be from Africa, Michael. She said, but you are my brother. I am your sister. She said, all of this because I'm from Africa and you're from America. She said, it doesn't separate us. She said, we have the same common fight. She said, I don't want to be separated from my people here. And it's still stuck with me, still resonates with me. I've had friends who are not black, who are not melanated, who happen to be of a fairer skin, come to my defense and let people know, say that word nigga one more time, and I guarantee you I'm gonna bust your fucking ass. All of this shit that we're dealing with, seeing people getting sued over having a group for black women to get money, to get grant money, is utterly ridiculous. To know that the young man is being told he can't go to school because of his hair is bullshit. It's purebred bullshit. We have to rise above a lot of this shit that we see and deal with every day, man. There's too many of us out here who are struggling to just get by. We don't stick together enough. There's no cohesion. All we want to do is fight, argue. We're still dealing with dudes who are well past their prime, out here talking about they're a real one. But what you are, okay, you're real, but you're a real asshole. That's what you are. You're not a real man. You're a real jerk. How about we do this so that way we can break the stereotypes? How about you, fellas? If you go out there and sleep with a woman and you get her pregnant, don't run. Don't run. Take care of your responsibility. So that way, white folks, not all, well, a lot of white folks have jokes about, at least my kids know who their father is. And when I see these little punk ass jokes and memes up here, I'm like, okay, that's cool. I see what you're talking about. But how about we talk about statistically who's on welfare more?
I'll look in the back too.
Who's on welfare more? But we don't talk about that either. We don't. I'm going to say it again, man. Either we're going to stand together, or we're going to just fall flat on our faces and be stuck behind the 8 ball because we refuse to. We really refuse to stand up for one another. Some things have to start off with a group of folks before it can spread out to everybody else. But I don't find a problem with melanated men and melanated women having their own. I'm not pissed. Listen, I don't care about the Hells Angels. Have you ever seen a black Hells Angel? Have you ever seen a melanated Hells Angel? Or melanated mongrel? No. Those are inclusive motorcycle gangs for a certain people. Correct me if I'm wrong. Am I wrong? Okay. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. The shit's got to stop somewhere, man. The buck has to stop. And it has to stop right here, right now. Excuse me. We have way too much time on our hands to be suing the organization that went out and helped people get money to empower themselves. That shit to me is just straight trash. That's trashy. That's trashy, and it's also it's classless. It's spineless. Because if we sat there and sued a bunch of white women for going out and saying, "Hey, we want the right to do A, B, and C. We're going to go burn our bras." You didn't see black women doing that back in the 60s. No, they got roped into doing the dumb shit. They got roped into joining the feminist movement in so many ways. Now it's grown into something that's way out of control. We got to get back to basics. And the basics we have to get back to is us loving one another, us understanding one another, us sitting down and having healthy conversations, people leaving out their egos out of the conversations, aka your feelings. And two, if you want me to clean up my delivery, then you got to clean yours up too. Don't tell me I got to be a certain way to make you feel comfortable when you ain't trying to make me feel comfortable at all in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But then you wonder why I come in here, just come in here, start stomping and mashing. But I'm going to leave off on this note. A couple of weeks ago, Mos Def was all the rage because he said a few things about the singing / rapper pop artist Drake. But a photo surfaced of one Yaslin Bey, aka Mos Def, aka Dante Bizet, aka Dante Smith, in a kilt, some shiny pants, some big ass boots, some type of jacket on, and if I'm correct, he had on makeup. Man, you go from being one way to another. And I'm not, hey, all I'm saying to you is, if you're going to sit there and criticize him for not being hip hop, well, that's not a part of hip hop. Now, maybe you did it for art reasons or whatever, or someone cut you a pretty good check to just be like, yeah, this is what, hey, we want you to do this. Who knows? But at a certain point in time, we have to just start looking at the things how we sit there and project ourselves in this world. We have to be mindful about how we can have a feeling about something. We can definitely feel a certain way about it, and I don't really mind. That's just how it's going to be. But at a certain point in time, we have to stop, smell the roses, and kind of just take everything in. We have far too many issues to be worried about an organization helping black women, helping melanated women empower themselves. There's other things going on in this world where we should be worrying about a young man and how he wears his hair. Let's call it like it is. It's modern day slavery. You want to control every aspect. You want to micromanage every aspect of melanated life because you just can't stand to see anyone rise above and not just level the playing field. This is why every time we get close to flipping that playing field, kind of like you see how in football, a punter gets off a really good punt and flip field position, they see that coming every time and they want to block it. We have to be better at, and I'm saying this, I ain't gonna say we, let me correct that. They're white folks to this who it applies to. Spend more time in your own backyard, mending to your fences, mowing your lawn, keeping it watered, making sure your stoop looks amazing. Pay attention to what you got going on in your shit and stay the hell up out of black folks' business, okay? Don't get mad at me, Tito, for feeling the way I feel. But didn't they say last year, 2023 was the year that the veil was going to come down? Well, the veil has come down and now you're seeing everything. But that's all my time. But this is not the last chapter. You are X and I'm Y and we off the damn axis. Intricate, because when we get together, we're two of God's instruments. And this is why we call this band practice. Have a good night, folks.